Storytelling and public speaking. Where are you struggling right now?
How do I say one story, stick with it to have the call to action, what I want people to gain from it? Because I can tell stories, but I haven't quite figured out how to make it work for the other person.
So the best stories that you say from stage are the ones where you are helping people first, right? Like the best stories that I've told are because I help people one-on-one first. Because when you're speaking live on stage to a group of people, you don't get a lot of fantastic feedback. Like you can kind of look at their faces and see what's going on, but they have a lot of thoughts, but they're not expressing them. But when you sit down with somebody one-on-one, you get the feedback, you get to see what they're thinking, you get to hear the real thoughts going on in their head. The stories that I tell on stage, the stories I just told in Vegas, I've told countless times to people one-on-one, and I know how to tell the story so that it moves them to a result. You can have a million different stories, and it's awesome that you're a storyteller. Stories' point is to get people to move towards some kind of action. So the key is figuring out which story to tell in which context. If you're going to go on stage and speak, what's the end goal that you want to have happen? And then what's the right story to tell in this situation? Does that make sense?
I'm figuring it out.
I would practice telling more stories to more individual people and ask them what they thought.
Gotcha.
And especially the resistance, like where does it not make sense?
Okay, I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay.
I had eye surgery the end of last month. And when I went to my doctor's office, he said I could go back to work. I work in the ER. And I decided I need a doctor's note not to work till July so that I can sit with what I really want to do with this in this space. And so the story for me is I have no income. So I have to figure if I really want to be in this space or not, because just the way to help people is to be able to be consistent and to have a way to pay my bills. Otherwise, I'm not going to be in this space. I'll go back because every time I'm in the ER, I can't fit into this space. It's a different zone. So the story for me is to tell people that are 60-year-olds in healthcare that they need to live their best life. Even though they've lived a better life in something they know, it's okay to pivot. Because if you don't, what are you going to do at the end of life? And so, I mean, that's why I did it. That's the story I told myself. And so I'm just trying to figure how to take life situations and make it stories to help people make decisions. And I made that decision to say, I've burned that bridge. Is it a permanent bridge? I think it is, but I have to make it work. That's why I came on the call.
No, I love it. And your journey becomes the story. So a couple of things in there, right? Like you haven't done the thing yet, right? You haven't built the successful career outside of healthcare yet.
No.
So we can't say, here's what I've done. Look at what I've done. But the story is that you have the courage to try and the willingness to try. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have self-doubt and you're going to not be sure if it's working out or not. And the willingness to try is the inspiration. So if we're telling a story, if my main call to action was, I want people to be willing to try, like if that's the message, be willing to try.
Be willing to try.
Right? You could have tons of stories, but my takeaway from this one is, hey, be willing to try. So when people are around you or they hear your speech or they watch your video, I need to feel like I should go off. I've got an idea. I need to be willing to try. Dr. O is going to go off and do it. And I need to be willing to try as well. So the message is be willing to try. Then you can tell a story around it.
Gotcha.
Let me tell you guys, I'm here trying to do it too. Like I haven't started living my life yet. I'm trying. I don't know all the steps. I'm trying to figure it out. I know that I don't want to stay in the ER anymore because it makes me feel X, like whatever it actually makes you feel. And I know I want to be in a different spot. And I'm tired of people telling me that I'm too old. And I'm tired of telling myself that I'm too old and that I can't change. And then whatever like the actual thoughts are in your head that when you wake up, because you don't wake up every day and like, I'm going to go crush this goal. So like, what are the actual thoughts in your head? Because that's what brings us in and makes it personal.
Okay.
And then you share, and I still get up every day because I'm willing to try and I want to make this happen. So that when I walk away, I've been inspired by the story, but my takeaway is be willing to try.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Now, when you're talking to somebody one-on-one, then you can ask for feedback. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do now? And you see are they actually off, ready to try something, or are they still dealing with their own doubts and insecurities? Because when you're speaking on stage, again, you're speaking to a group of people. You don't get that feedback. But if you can structure, you have so many stories to tell. Cool. They don't all have to fit into one video or one speech. One main message per video, per speech that when I walk away with, if you think like the event I just came back from in Vegas, it's like, it was 3 days, 4 days. I don't remember. So many speakers, everybody gets up. There's another speech. It's like it's speech overload. Like you guys have all been to events and it's just crazy speech overload. So to hope that somebody remembers everything that you're going to say is impossible. So it's like, what's the one thing that I'm going to get from your message that I can take away that you are the most valuable person for me from that event? And it starts with you having that intention as opposed to just standing up and saying, I got a bunch of stories to tell.
Gotcha.
Good luck. All right. Milko in the house. I saw him bouncing. What do we got, Milko?
My question is not very well formed, but for me, because from what I know, good storytelling, you need to show emotion. And it's kind of like last time we kind of covered this and you showed us how you actually took you 700 videos or what was the number, something like that, to find your self and be yourself on camera. So for me, because I'm not used to sharing my emotions in any way, so I'm usually quite intense when I coach people, but I don't share my emotions. And I know that, for example, for storytelling, when you show your emotions, when you share them, it's much better and people can relate to you more. So I'm trying to find this voice, but I can't really make the difference because sometimes I feel like I'm really putting it there and I'm kind of showing my emotions and stuff like that. And then it turns out at the video that it's not, or someone else is telling me that it's not really, it sounds a bit not genuine and so on. So kind of, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but
I got you. So listen, I mean, if you go back and watch our session from a couple of weeks ago, I self-criticized my videos or critiqued them going back and when I got the feedback to have more emotion, you see my very beginning videos, the content was almost still what I talk about now. The delivery was way off. It's like, okay, guys, so I got a question from my reader, and it's like just super boring watching it back. And then when I got the feedback to try to do more emotion, it felt forced, right? Like as I was critiquing my videos, like, look at that video. Like I'm trying, there is more energy, but it's not real Evan energy. It's a forced energy, but it's better than what it was, but it's not where it needs to be. And it's still pushing through that discomfort to practice and work on it, because it was 80% there. Some of the things are right, but I had to keep trying it on to like make it fit for me. One of the best things that helped me, and this is advice I told Alex too, who's in the house, so we could talk about him. When Alex first started doing stories at TDS, Toronto Dance Salsa, he was doing stories at the front of the class, he was doing stories on videos. It all sucked. I mean, like what we all suck at the beginning, right? And Alex can add to the chat if he wants, kind of sharing stuff. But it was really bad, and the points were still good, but the delivery was just really, really bad. And so the exercise I gave him was, whenever you feel the emotion, film. So whenever you feel like that breakthrough video for me, I forget what number it was, like 670 something, was because I came back from that event. I was trying to help entrepreneur. I was so frustrated. And so I just filmed. I had no idea what I was going to say, and I just filmed. And the energy was on point. The content wasn't as good, but the energy was so much better. And it's the energy that's actually going to carry the day. And so whenever you feel the emotion, if you just come out of Movement Makers and you feel grateful, or you just come out of a coaching call and you feel frustrated, or whatever's happened, like you feel emotions throughout your day. They just may not be there when you're about to press record on the camera. So the trick is have your phone with you, which we probably all do. And when you feel that emotion, you film. And it does two things. One, it gets you the practice of speaking from your heart, because we're speaking from our head with most of our videos. So it gets you the practice of speaking with your heart and letting that express, because you feel what it feels like, but you haven't practiced vocalizing what it feels like. And so it gets you that practice. The second thing is when you go to try to tell that story again, if you're going to then tell that story on stage, you're going to tell that story in a future video, you can go back and watch how you delivered it when you were actually in that state. And then you can think back to, yeah, that's how I felt. Because it's hard to manufacture that sometimes when you're just sitting at home on your ball, kind of bouncing around, figuring out, talking about food choices, right? So that's the best activity that I would recommend. It's like, try to catch it during the week and then film, even if you don't post it, just try to catch an emotion, any a positive or negative emotion, and film it. And don't stress if it sucks, and don't stress if it's not well thought out, or you don't really know what you're saying as you go, but just practice that, because the more you practice that, the better you'll get at it. And again, you can go watch it back and say, yeah, that's what it feels like to have that thought again. So you could get out of your head and into your heart.
Thank you. It's
cool.
Very helpful.
Yeah. I remember one time when I was really grinding on Alex to do this, we're at a dance event. So we hosted these dance parties once a week or so. And he was, I forget, he had some kind of emotion, right? He was upset or he was happy. I don't remember what it was. Like, dude, go film. Like, now? Yeah, go film now. And then he filmed. It's like, that's what you need to train yourself to do. You're feeling emotional, film, even if just for yourself, to get the repetition down. Today, guys, we have a super, super, super important topic: when to push versus when to break. And this is a really important one, because I think we have moments where we are our best. We have moments where we are showing up, where we are motivated, where we're inspired, where we're doing our thing, where we know that what we're doing is important, where we feel the impact. Maybe you joined Movement Makers and you got a lot of inspiration from the session. Maybe somebody left you a great comment. But then there's going to be days when you wake up and you don't feel like it, and you don't have the energy, and it's not as high. And you have that voice inside your head that says, tomorrow, do it tomorrow, right? It's okay. You deserve a break. You've been working too hard. What do you do when that voice comes in? When all of your friends tell you to take it easy, to relax, to take a break? I have a rule where I want to spend 95% of my time pushing harder and 5% of my time giving myself a break. Because there are definitely some times where you actually really do need a break, where you need to take care of yourself, where you need to relax, when you've actually pushed too hard, and that's okay. But most of the time, I think you need to push harder. I think that's the mindset of high achievers. And I'm going to break down today some of the stories, just my own experience you can learn from, as well as some strategies you can use to help you identify when to push harder and when to break. So first thing I'm going to talk about here, how to decide between pushing versus breaking. Pass the pillow test. So let's dive in. So again, 95% push, 5% break. This is my own internal metric. This is what I tell myself. 95% of the time when I'm feeling low energy, tired, don't feel like doing it, have every excuse in the world not to do it, every reason, everybody else left me off the hook. 95% of the time, me, Evan Carmichael, emotionally, the voice in my head is, go do it. You have to go do it. This becomes an identity thing. This is who I want to be. Evan Carmichael at his best self is the guy who's off pushing for one more, saying no to that little voice in my head. And then 5% is to take a break, take it easy. It's okay to rest, right? You can figure out what the numbers are for you, but for achievers, you guys got big movements ahead of you. It should lean more towards the push than the break. So let me talk to you about Tuesday. We've been going through some crazy times here at the Carmichael household. We just came back from a trip. We went out to Kelowna, our first family trip in the past 2 years, which is amazing. There's no corona out there at all, so everybody's around, no masks, indoor dining, all of it. We're here in Toronto. There's a lot of still issues. You can't do indoor dining and wearing masks. We feel weird going out there, but we come back here. I decided I want to redo my office and redo my bedroom and do floors. I want new floors. So you probably can't see them from this angle because I moved my desk and it's a little chaotic, but we got brand new floors in the office. It wasn't ready. It was supposed to be ready on Monday. We got the wrong floors. It didn't work. So Tuesday was a disaster. Tuesday is normally my YouTube filming day, okay? We can't sleep in our bedroom on Monday night because they put half the floors in and they got to take them out. I can't do anything in our second bedroom because it's full of all the junk from the first bedroom. And I can't do anything in my third bedroom, which is my office, because the floors are all ripped up here too. So we take our bed and put it down in the kitchen, the only spot. And so we slept in the kitchen Monday night. Okay, Tuesday morning comes around. I had a terrible sleep. I'm still jet lagged. Nina's got an early morning acupuncture appointment. And Tuesday is my Espresso video day. So I got to go film Espresso. I usually drive Nina to wherever she needs to go. She goes and does her stuff, and I film videos in the car. It's been our tradition. She wakes up. I am dead tired. And she said, I'm gonna go. You sleep in a little bit. I'll come back and get you in a couple hours. This is the point when that little voice really matters. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I'm tired, I'm jet lagged. She's gonna come back in 2 hours and I'll be able to film that anyway. I can still get it done, right? We create a logical reason how we can still follow through. I can still get it done. I'm sleeping in the kitchen. I deserve this. I just came back. This is crazy. But then literally 10 seconds later, it's like, no, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I get up, we rush out, and then I go and film videos. And instead of just making, usually on an Espresso day, I'll make 7 videos. I made 15. Just because that's what Evan Carmichael does, right? And not that I'm some superhero. Like it's something that's been built. Every time you have that little voice inside your head that says, nah, you shouldn't do it. Like, no, there's no reason why I can't. And then go a little bit harder, push a little bit more. Now I went a little crazy because I was really in the zone. And when I'm in the zone, I love staying in the zone as much as possible. So instead of doing 7, I finished off the 10 that were on my list. And then I asked for 5 more and then finished those 5 as well. Like, come on. Evan Carmichael, let's go, right? And this is for all of you, the same thing. You have that little voice that tells you can't do it, gives you all the reasons why you can't, and then you show yourself that you can. And not just that you can do that thing, but you can do more. And what it does is start to shift the identity. It starts to take away that little voice in your head so that it doesn't have to take you. I used to lose an entire day. I never lost weeks or months, right? But I would lose an entire day. If one little thing happened that derailed me, the whole day would be gone. Like, okay, I'll figure it out tomorrow. The goal is to try to get that to as short a window as possible. So instead of it taking an entire day for you to bounce back, it's a couple hours to then an hour to then half an hour to then 5 minutes to then 15 seconds. Stuff is going to happen. The answer is not to avoid all of the pains in life. Stuff is going to happen to you. It's how do you react to them and then get back on track. Showing yourself that you're the person who does it. So I wanted to share a recent example because that just happened Tuesday. The most painful example was back in 2019 when I broke my neck. And I had a goal of going live every day on Instagram. I said on my tour, I'm going to go live every single day on Instagram. Every day, 90 days, every day I'm going live on Instagram, no matter what. Little did I know I was going to be in a hospital with a concussion and break my neck in 2 spots. But that no matter what made me want to do it. And this was me. I broke my neck on Nina's birthday. March 15th is Nina's birthday. And we broke my neck and I was in the hospital. And I said, I need to go live. And the doctor was like, you can't go live. And Nina's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? Like, no. I said I was going to go live every day. I can't even see the phone at this point, right? I've got a concussion. I don't know what's happening on the screen. But even if it's for 60 seconds, I'm going to go live. And most of my live streams were an hour long, right? I don't know how long this one ended up being. It was probably a couple minutes. I just gave people a quick update. It looks like I'm dying. So Doug Watler, who's a movement maker and longtime, friend, took this screenshot and posted it to his Instagram. He's like, Doug, I look like I'm dead. I mean, he took it in black and white for whatever reason. I wasn't filming in black and white, and posted it. But I'm happy. And I see, Adam Duran, who gave a thumbs up in the chat here on this picture, who's also now movement makers. Welcome aboard, Adam. This might have been crazy, might have been too stupid, but I'm proud of it. It was probably the worst live stream I've ever done. I don't know what I said. It was probably very incoherent, just telling people what happened and that I'm going to be okay. But it was likely my worst live stream of all time. But it's one of the ones that I'm most proud of because there was every reason why I couldn't do it. And then I still went and did it, right? So fast forward, March 29. So 2 weeks later, I'm back to filming videos. Now, they're not the most coherent videos. I'm not the best on camera. I'm wearing this neck brace. I've got this giant scab on my forehead, right? I look at myself. How many times have you looked at yourself and like, I can't make videos today because what? Because my hair is a little bit out of place. Looking at you, Alex. because I gained a little bit of weight. Because whatever, right? I'm sitting here with a neck brace on. There's Alex taking his hat off. There we go. With this giant scab on my forehead. It's like, let's go, right? And I had that, guys, I had that voice too. It's like, I can't make a video with this crazy thing on my forehead, with this neck brace on. I can't even fit into my clothes. I might be naked under this. I'm not sure, but I might have a t-shirt on. I couldn't lift my arms to get anything on. I couldn't put my usual Believe hoodie on. So I put on a jacket. This is in Arizona or something. It's like super warm. But I'm wearing a jacket just to start making videos because I had that voice in my head again telling me, you can't do this. Look at you. You're a mess. Who would not understand, right? Like everybody would understand if I didn't make content, given what happened. But I don't want that. Like that's the standard. I was on a walk with Nina this morning, taking the dogs up before coming here. And she's like, your standards are just way up here. This is a normal person and your standards are in the sky. It's like, yes, exactly. That's what we want. And by you raising your standards, you lift everybody else up around you as well. So it's not that I don't have these voices. I still have those voices telling me I can't do it. And all the reasons why I can't. It's fighting that voice every single day. By April, the scab was gone. I still can't fit into my hoodie. So I went to the store. I was tired of filming in just my one jacket. So we went to a store and we bought this giant, like double XL Nike sweater. That was the only thing I could fit into on a day-to-day basis. So you can see it there. I've gained some weight. Like, look at me. I'm barely moving, guys. I have pillows behind me. I'm in so much pain every day. We're continuing the tour. Look at my face. Look at how much weight I've gained. So now I'm self-conscious about my weight. I've just gained 15 pounds because I'm lying on a couch all day because I can't move. I can't film now. I can't film being this fat Evan. Again, voice in my head. No, I have to do it now because that was in my head. Now I have to do it because that was the reason. I refuse to not make content because of that voice. I refuse to play small because of that voice, right? Could I take a break? Yes. Is this where I'm proud of myself for taking a break? No. So I'm going to make videos. And then fast forward to May. Now I'm healing a little bit more. You can see I lost some weight on my face. If you go back, I'm at home now. I can fit into my shirts again. I'm still wearing the neck brace, still healing, but still making content. Still making content. My health card, we have a photo health card here in Ontario. And when we got back, I had to renew my health card because my wallet was stolen in LA on our trip. And we get to the place to take the picture and I'm wearing my neck brace. And he's like, don't you want to take your neck brace off for the camera? Because this is going to be on your health card for the next 5 years of you like scrunched up here with this neck brace on. Like, no, shh, don't tell them I could take it off. I want it on. I want that on my health card for the next 5 years. Like I showed up to take my picture that we all get self-conscious of in my neck brace when I could have taken it off just because, right? Like it's that daily constant attacking of that little voice inside your head telling you all the reasons why that you can't win. Okay, so I filmed throughout the whole thing. There wasn't a time that I took a day off on filming. Now, in 2019 October, my family dog died, Toby, and he passed away. We put him down. He had really bad cancer. He was struggling for a long time, and he passed away on a Tuesday, which was my filming day. And it was the morning, and it was my family all there, and my dad and I stayed in the room with him while, you know, they gave him the final injection and everybody else left, and it was super emotional. And I couldn't imagine going home and filming, you know. And so I told Christina, my editor, let's do some mashups. We still have to get videos up, but let's do some content, and let's just explain it at the beginning that I skipped the filming day, you know. So we wrote this: Toby, my family's dog passed away from cancer this week. I didn't do my regular espresso filming. I hope you understand. I love you, Toby. Still can't believe you're gone. Thank you for an amazing 11 years. And I'm still kind of getting a little choked up just looking at it. But I was okay with not filming on that day. You know, I was okay with it. Like, this is where I would film through a broken neck. I would film through everything else. But you know, for me, this was the moment where, like, okay, in the past however many years, this is the time that I'm not filming, and I'm okay with that. Now, for those of you who have dogs, maybe you get what I'm saying. For those of you, you might think I'm crazy. That's okay too. It's not judging somebody else's reasons. It's, are you proud of yourself for why you didn't do it? I'm okay that I didn't film that week. We still got videos up. I'm okay with it. That was the 5%, right? 95% push, 5% break. I'm okay with that 5% being a break.
We're going to talk about something super, super, super important today about how to collab with the right people. So you guys have big movements, big missions, big ideas, big things in front of you. We want to go change the world, and we need help doing it. You know, I think one of the challenges that we face is we try to do everything ourselves. You're trying to do everything yourself. You're trying to wake up, do your morning routine, you know, watch your videos, put the music on, and just go ahead and do it. And that's great. Yes, awesome. And one of the fastest ways to grow is to find people who already have your audience, who are already talking to your customers, and find a way to work together. Doing your grind, doing your calls, doing your emails, creating your content. Yes, I love it. And when you can get the right collaborations and alliance partners, it can really turbo speed your movement. It may take a little longer to get it off the ground. Alliance partnerships are one of the hardest things to get going. But once you do, that could be an ongoing source of attention, of traffic, of leads, of customers for you forever. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm so excited. Let's dive in. Think about who you want to talk to, who you want to connect with, who, if they knew who you were, would make a meaningful impact on your business. If this person said, you have to check out Frank Vila's art, would make a meaningful impact on your business. Frank's flashing the peace signs. We love you, Frank. Think about those people, okay? That's who we need to start connecting with. That's who we need to start hanging out with. But then the question becomes, well, how do I get to know these people? Because I don't have connections. I don't know anybody. I remember when I first went in my very, very, very first business, I went to the bank and asked for help. And he said, well, do you need a loan? Like, oh, I don't know. I'm just starting my business. You know, you're a bank. You're here to help me, right? I need help. And he said, no, we give out loans, but you need to have at least 3 years in business before you can really qualify, unless you want to put a personal guarantee on it. And so that kind of shut down my hopes. Like, oh, okay, I guess it's gonna be a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be getting into this. So how do you get access to these people, right? Step one is you want to hang out where they hang out. And what you want to do is look for the platform where they are the most involved. So everybody, all the people that you want to connect with, they're on social media, right? That's the beauty of living in 2021, 2022, 2023. They're on social media. They're more accessible than ever. The traditional routes of trying to track down a phone number, right, is now impossible. Don't worry about that, but you can connect with people on Instagram or on YouTube or on Twitter or on Clubhouse. But most people are everywhere. Think about your own experience. You're probably everywhere. You probably have an account on all these platforms, but you're not actually involved. And for the bigger people, it's most likely their teams who are doing most of the stuff. So what you want to do is look for the platform where they are the most involved personally, not just in posting. Like, great, they're posting on Twitter, or they're posting on YouTube. Awesome. Where are they actually personally involved in the discussion? The easiest way to find it out is by the comments. Where are they actually responding to people's comments? Where are they actually involved in the discussion? And not just their team, but it's them. That's where you want to hang out, because you can spend lots of time hanging out and just consuming the content, but we want to be hanging out in the same room that they're actually hanging out. And you might not be invited to all the big parties and the fancy jets and, you know, whatever else, but social media is a party that's open to everybody. You need to be hanging out where you're not just heroes and mentors and masters you can learn from, but collaborators are hanging out. Okay, so I want to tell you a quick story about Mark Jager. He's a fellow movement maker, friend of mine for over a decade. Mark has an ambition to be the world's greatest host. He wants to host people. He wants to host people on stage. He wants to host people having good conversations. Mark has had a podcast on and off, I don't know, for 5 years, 7 years. I don't know. He's had a podcast on and off forever. Nothing ever really took off, because in just starting a podcast, you're one of many. You're one of many. It's hard to stand out. So his next step was to collaborate with me. Clubhouse came out. I actually pushed him to say, Mark, this is audio only. You love audio only. You need to get on Clubhouse now, while it's still young, while you can still stand out, while there's still so much demand and so little good supply. You need to get on now and start having these conversations and start hosting rooms. So step one was him to create a Clubhouse account. Step two was him to start using my account, where we're leveraging all of the videos that we've done on YouTube and broadcast them to Clubhouse. What led to that happening was Grant Cardone pops in a room, Les Brown pops in a room, and Mark starts having conversations with them. So he leveraged my name to create my Grant Cardone's top 50 rules of success and my Les Brown's top 50 rules for success, broadcast them on Clubhouse, right? Mark was just doing the tech behind it, leveraged my name to do it. Grant pops in the room twice. And Mark then has a conversation with Grant. Getting access to Grant is very difficult. If you were to email his office and say, hey, I'd love to talk to Grant for a couple minutes, good luck making that happen, right? But because Grant's attention was on Clubhouse at the moment, it was an easy way for Mark to start to have that conversation. Les Brown, this is an even better story. Les Brown pops in. Mark has another great conversation, which leads to Les wanting to partner up, which led to us doing 2 more Les Brown only Q&As, where it was me, Mark, Les, and his son, John Leslie. The first one lasted a couple hours. The second one we had to narrow down the time scope because I had to run. So it was like an hour and a half. But now Mark is hosting Les Brown on his channel, where he spent 7 years or whatever of podcasting, not really getting traction. Now all of a sudden is hosting the Les Brown, because he's hanging out where Les Brown is hanging out. You have to be where your audience, not just where your audience, where the people you want to collab with are hanging out. That's the key. He's got the skill set. He always had the skill set. Now, Mark, this weekend is flying to Les Brown's event and helping host his event live on stage with Les Brown. Right? Yeah, you guys can clap that up. How cool is that? He went from just having years of podcasting, not getting any traction, to then getting on Clubhouse, leveraging my content, getting to connect with Les, hosting Les in a couple of Clubhouse rooms, to now being invited to go host with Les live at one of Les Brown's events. And Les Brown, to me, is one of the greatest of all time. Young Les Brown is the greatest speaker of all time in my books. Where he falls for you is open for debate, but I mean, he's got to be in the top 10 of all time. Now Mark is facilitating those conversations because he was hanging out where they hang out. This is how quickly it can happen when you start to get into the right circles. Okay. Evan Tinsman. So Evan Tinsman came, this is Evan, movement makers, the first movement maker. Evan Tinsman was the first movement maker. He came to my event in Pittsburgh. This was his first video on his YouTube channel. If you go to his channel and you go oldest video, you'll see this video, which was him, January 2019. I went to Pittsburgh. It was cold, and I kicked off my event, my tour. This is where I broke my neck. We did 90 days on the road, all of that stuff, 23 cities. This was the first stop. And this is Evan's first video. It's 20 seconds long. Don't make 20-second long videos on YouTube, guys. You know, now we know, but this is great. This is just him just before I get started. That's me about to get started on stage, and Evan just doing a quick tour of the room. He came to thank me for all the videos that I had done. I'd never met him before this point, but he had watched all of my content, or a good chunk of my content. He came just to say thank you. He knew I was coming to Pittsburgh. This is a chance to hang out where the people you want to connect with are hanging out. And really the motivation to come was just to say hi and say thank you. That's why he showed up. It led to him joining Movement Makers. It led to him being part of our mastermind now, was for 1 year plus members. It led to me giving him a quote for his YouTube channel. You know how many people hit me up every day asking, hey, can you be a testimonial? Hey, can you write the forward for my book? Hey, can you review my product? Hey, and it's not that I don't want to, it's that I don't know you. You know, I don't know you. I don't like giving recommendations to people who I've never met. Even if they've been a hardcore loyal fan of my channel, if you haven't ever contributed anything, I don't know who you are. So we took this picture in Pittsburgh. I then hung out with Evan the next day a little bit and gave him a quote. If you want the steps to have a greater impact, follow Evan Tinsman, says Evan Carmichael. Evan and Evan, right? Because he came to where I was hanging out. That's what you want to do. You make your list of the top 100 people that you want to connect with. And then you're staying on top of where are they hanging out, both virtually, right? Mark did it to get to Grant Cardone and Les Brown through Clubhouse. Evan did it by getting to me in person because I had an event happening there. One other quick example. This is Jeremy, who came to my Thought Leadership Academy. This is what I did before Movement Makers. I had twice a year people coming to Toronto, and we trained 15 people at a time how to be thought leaders. You can see Alex down here at the bottom. Alex was one of my trainers as well. But the circle there is Jeremy. And Jeremy came at the time he was earning minimum wage at a grocery store, stocking shelves, hating his job, hating his life, saved up his money. I didn't know any of his story till he told me afterwards, but saved up his money to come to this event. This was 3 days, a couple $1,000, and thought, I need to hang out where Evan is hanging out, because Evan's videos have impacted my life and got me on a personal development journey, right? When he was struggling with frustration in his life, he went to YouTube, typed in something like, how do I make money? And started finding my videos, and it led him down this course of personal development. So I really liked him. He was the youngest one there. He was 20, maybe just 20, 21 at this time, hanging with a bunch of, more grown adults. And I really took to him and I really liked him. And it led to us starting a business together. And I remember I loved his vibe. He told me his story, and I was on my tour and I was thinking about him because he had asked me, Evan, I want to spend more time with you. I came here to hang out with you. We're both in Toronto. Tell me what I can do to spend more time with you. I will walk your dog. I will clean your car. I will cut your grass. I will do whatever you need me to do. I don't have very many skills yet because I'm still young and developing, but whatever you want to do, whatever you need me for, just I'm here, let me know. And I told them, dude, I love your energy. I love your vibe. I don't need someone to walk my dogs, Like I don't need someone to wash my car. I'm in a condo. I don't have a lawn. but the vibe stuck, the vibe stuck with me. And so when I'm doing my tour, I'm driving through the desert on my way to New Mexico. And in the desert, I had this idea. I'm going to teach Jeremy how to do YouTube. I'm going to teach Jeremy how to be a YouTube consultant. And I told Nina, we need to get a 2% difference, like immediate action, idea action. Let's go. I told Nina, we need Jeremy on a call right now. Because if we can't get him on a call by the time I get to Arizona, not Arizona, to New Mexico, my spot, I see Frank and I'm thinking Arizona. If we can't get there in time, then that's it. I'll be in a different vibe, in a different zone. Like when you're in the zone, you have to start taking that immediate action. That's where your genius really comes out. So we got Jeremy on a Facebook call and I told him my idea. And I still had 2 more months of my tours. Like I can't do anything with you for another 2 months because I'm doing my tour. But here's what you need to do. I'm going to send you all sorts of resources, my videos, other people's videos. I want you to study everything. I want you to do your own research into YouTube and the algorithm. And when I come back, I'm going to mentor and train you even more to build this business. And he did, right? And we caught him off guard. He was out here. I think he was working his shift. He's like, yeah, I'm here. What do you think? What happened? Because he's stocking shelves at this grocery store. And now he's got a $500,000 business, $500,000 a year inside of a year and a half, 2 years of doing this, working with some of his heroes, because he hung out where the people that he wanted to hang out with were, right? He wanted to meet me and he hung out with me. This isn't just like, oh, Evan Carmichael is so special. This is everybody. You can get a lot closer to touching your dreams when you're hanging out with the people who can make a difference for you. Jeremy knew nothing about YouTube at the time. Now he's coaching some of the biggest YouTube channels in the world in thought leadership on how they can grow their channels. He burned his apron. He had to wear this apron every day, this outfit. He burned the aprons, like I'm never going back there. And he had this really emotional moment where he made more in 1 month than he did an entire year working, full-time as a grocery store clerk, right? And it's not the skill set because he had none. It's just the desire and the willingness to show up. Movement makers, great to see you again. Okay, so we're on to something pretty exciting today. This was an interesting topic that I think really holds a lot of people back. You guys, especially for achievers, because you guys know you're capable of more, and you know that you're pushing other people to do great things, and at the same time, you're not doing all the things that you should be doing, right? Does that relate? It's like, that you could be doing more, that you're doing more than your friends and the people around you, but how many days you go, maybe even days or weeks in a row where it's like, okay, I played small. I was afraid. I didn't do what I should have, right? And we beat ourselves up. And the point isn't to just lay more beats on you. The point is to be able to make progress. And so today's theme, which I'm super excited by, is how to build the resilience mindset to overcome obstacles and get back up quickly. Let's dive in. One of the things I get asked the most when I do podcasts, interviews, I'm on somebody's show, Clubhouse, they say, what are your non-negotiables? What's the thing that you have to do every single day? Or what's your morning routine? And what is non-negotiable, has to happen all the time? And I don't really have anything that's absolutely non-negotiable. I think the closest thing is connection to Nina. If I look at our relationship over the past decade, I don't know that there's been a single day that I haven't connected with Nina. Now, obviously, when I'm home, that's easy. But when I'm traveling and I'm away, every day, at least I'm checking in once just to see how she's doing, even on the craziest of crazy days. But apart from that, there's nothing that has to be every single day. And I think one of the challenges that we come up with for ourselves is we feel like we have to be perfect. We got perfectionists in the house. Are you a perfectionist? Because I know I am. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I lost that $40 million deal when I was 20 because I was trying to be perfect. And I still want things to be perfect. The problem is when we don't hit our mark, what we end up doing is nothing. When we don't actually go and accomplish what we want, we don't want to feel like a loser. We don't want to feel less than. And so we just spend our time on something else instead of actually starting to build momentum for the dreams that we have. So I found this awesome graphic of the perfect morning routine. Like wake up before you have to and go make a cup of your happy beverage, spend time doing something you enjoy, say something nice about yourself, go outside, get some sun, eat a good breakfast, be kind to yourself, open your windows, write down how you can best meet your needs for the day. We have this concept of what our perfect morning routine is. And that's great, but this might take 2 hours and we don't always follow through perfectly. I am never 100% on my morning routine every month. If you look at my morning routine and what I do every month, I don't think there's been a single month where I'm hitting it 100% of the time. And that's normal. And that's fine. And that's okay. It's not expecting to be perfect, but it's expecting to do the best that we can. Because life will throw circumstances at you. Life will throw obstacles at you. And what we often do when we're trying to be perfect, again, is we're either perfect or we're nothing. And that's the problem. And there are a few days where we can be perfect. There are a few days where you can get your perfect days down. But then what happens when you come up against some obstacle? What often happens too much, even for achievers, we're talking achievers here. We're not talking to people who have no goals, no aspirations, no dreams. Achievers will still do nothing because it can't be perfect. And so I want to start to blur that line a little bit. So it's not perfect or zero, that we're always trying to do the best we can. So we're proud of our effort. I saw this and I loved it. If the version of you from 5 years ago could see you right now, they'd be so proud. Keep going. And this is often what we need to remind ourselves of. When you feel like you're not perfect, when you feel like you're not getting results, when you feel like you let yourself down, your family down, your community down, the people around you down, that's the time to reflect back and say, hey, where was I 5 years ago? Look at all of you. 5 years ago, where were you? Come on now. Compared to what you're doing right now, the projects you're working on, the ventures you're involved in, the communities you're part of, the you from 5 years ago would not recognize the you right now today. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that. When we fall off of our perfect horse, how do you get back up quickly? Right? This is the theme of the day. You remind yourself of the journey that you've been on. Because what we need to do is get back to the consistency. So you get back on the horse and keep going. How do we get back on the horse? This will help. Look at the journey. Look at how much you've grown. Look at how much you've done. Look at how much you've accomplished. Look at all the lives that you've impacted, the people that you've helped, how much you've learned and grown and gotten better. Because it helps to get rid of the pity party that I'm not perfect now. I didn't do it, so now I'm zero. It's not 0 or 100, right? 97 is a great score. Let's remind ourselves of that and keep going. Because the consistency is going to be the thing that gets you to where you go. It's not the perfect. It's the consistency that will get to where you need to go. Terry, I'm definitely in a different space from 5 years ago. I love it. Pablo in the house says, hola. Marcus, recovering perfectionist. Listen, I think everybody here is a recovering perfectionist. I think achievers are perfectionists. We know it can be better. We want it to be better. And so this is how we stop getting in our own way. This is a great quote I came across from Cassie Stevens, who's our teacher. She's a creator. She said, we see kids start to become perfectionists and we see them start to struggle. We need to guide the way for them and keep the joy in art. And this is a great message for kids, but it's also a great message for you. It's a great message for you. Like how many adults, how many thought leaders, how many creators, how much great art of yours has not come out because you were struggling with being a perfectionist? I know there's lots of things that I didn't release, especially early on, because I was afraid it wasn't good enough. It wasn't perfect, that I would be critiqued, that I could do better. And as a result, I didn't release it. This isn't just a kid's thing. This is a human thing. And again, especially for achievers, because we want to achieve, we want to win, we want to get the gold medal. We want the results. And we're afraid to release something that doesn't get the results. But that becomes the game, because a lot of the things that you create, you never know if it's actually going to win or not. A lot of my best videos, all of the best videos on my channel, I would never have pegged to say, that's the one that's going to win. Never. And a lot of the ones that I love the most didn't do well. It's like, man, really? You guys don't like that video? Come on now. I love that one. So it makes a really big difference to just get your art out there, to stop judging, to stop critiquing, and just release. And what I find really helpful with this is tomorrow you release again, and the next day you release again, and the next day you release again. So it's not so much pressure on this one thing being perfect, because you're going to create another one and another one and another one and another one. We need to put the art back into your content. Okay, when you overthink it and try to make it perfect all the time, you suck the creativity and the art out of it. Creativity is messy. Art is messy. It's not going to be perfect at the beginning. That's the whole point. And we struggle with that. So what helps is just not expecting to be perfect. Don't expect it to be, especially at the beginning. Don't expect it to be perfect. That's why we do the 100 video challenge. I want you to expect to suck at the beginning. Like, just expect to suck. Release yourself of the burden of it being fantastic. Expect it to be terrible. Expect to look back on your first video and be embarrassed. But after you get through 10, after you get through 20, after you get through 50, after you get through 100, you look back and say, holy cow, I got so much better. People who've gone through the 100 video challenge, even a couple videos in, 10 videos in, start to say, wow, I'm already so much better. I made it too big a project, and as a result, I did nothing. So stop expecting to be perfect. Sing your own song because you can sing. Alain says 5 years ago, I had not met Evan. Appreciate you, man. Progress over perfection, says Drew. I love it. You can't mess up art because you can always paint over it and do it again. On. So right now, I had to remind myself of that going into what I'm doing right now, because I've been with my son for the past 3 weeks, and we've got a little more time together before he starts to go back to school. And I wanted to really make it count. And as a result, I have done very little on my business usual stuff. I got way ahead on YouTube, so content is coming up. Got way ahead on Instagram, all that stuff. So content is coming up, but I'm not doing my IG lives. I'm not doing any podcasts, any interviews. I'm not meeting with my team. I'm not doing all the stuff that I usually do, that I love to do. I don't see it as work. You know, when I meet with Alex or Drew on a Monday, it's not like, oh man, got to meet that Alex guy. Right? I don't see it as work. This is what I love to do. This is great. But I also wanted to be intentional with my time while Hayden is here. And as a result, I knew I wouldn't be able to keep up on my usual commitments. And so Angela sent this amazing message to me on my DMs on Instagram that I wanted to share. It's like, okay, I get it, man. Believe Nation is missing you. You are missed on Instagram. 2 p.m. is so boring. You are loved. So glad you're enjoying your family time. Everyone looks really happy. So good to see you. Love you all. And she's saying that because 2 o'clock Eastern, I would go live on Instagram. 2 o'clock Eastern, I go live on Instagram. It's either me with a guest or me. Sometimes movement makers pop in and we do a roundtable, which is super fun. Or I just coach people live. I never know what's going to happen on a Tuesday. Or sorry, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, doing my Instagram lives. But I'm not doing it. I haven't done it in 3 weeks. Mr. Consistency hasn't done it in 3 weeks because I'm trying to be intentional and spend that time with my son. So apart from Movement Makers Brandlytics, I'm not doing any of my usual commitments. And so some people, Angel is very warm and loving. This is a great message. Some people aren't as warm or loving. Some people are more attacking and critical. It's like, yo, where are you? Where's the Instagram lives? When do I get my turn? It's like, dude, come on, I'm doing something else right now. And so I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not going in thinking I can do everything, but I'm trying to be intentional with the time that I'm spending. So don't expect to be perfect.
If you want to watch the full version of this video, as well as train live with me twice a month to help you build your movement and be around some other amazing people just like you, check out my Movement Makers program. The link to join is right there next to me. Can't wait to see you there. Continue to believe and go join.